Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, on one end, brands are consistently experimenting with different delivery possibilities to get product to consumer faster, convenient, and at a lower price. Well, on the other hand, 75% of companies reportedly had an exclusive supply chain disruption in 2021. And to discuss why last mile delivery are more important now than ever, we have our esteemed panelists. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to move forward, the first one I'd like to go ahead and call upon is Dr. Karuna Sarkar Pandey, Director of Last Mile Operations, Amazon India. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Along with Atul Mehta, COO of Shiprocket, Puneet Chakravarti, country head of Cart to Door, and our moderator, Punita Sabharwal. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen?
Hello again to our beautiful audience. And after quick commerce, I think we have an apt topic being discussed here, which is about the last mile delivery and why it's so important in today's day and age. When we're all just, after ordering, checking, okay, when our stuff is going to be delivered, and then there are a lot of, say, back end involved in that. So I'll first come to you, Dr. Karuna, because you've been in the market for so long, and Amazon, of course, is known to be very, very customer-centric. So how has last mile delivery shaped up for you in the last few years?
Yeah. Hi, thanks. Uh, so, we as a company, for us, what is most important is how do we work customer backwards and how do we innovate on their behalf. I mean, all through the session from yesterday, you would have heard various partners coming and talking about what new thing they are doing. But for us, the center of this has always been convenience. How do we get the right selection, the right price, the right speed, the right accuracy as far as customers are concerned. So convenience is something which is taking a big place right now. And convenience from a customer's perspective is they'd like things to be delivered at the time that they want, at the day that they want, in the shape that they want, and not only just the product. I mean, just imagine, I mean, if somebody is buying a mobile phone, and today it's not just about getting the mobile phone. They get the mobile phone, but then they have to step out and take a screen guard or a cover, then the whole purpose of delivering and getting at home is gone, right? So convenience is at the next level where you make sure it's a combined experience where you are able to deliver the mobile, deliver somebody who can put the screen, deliver the cover. Similarly, I mean, on other white goods, customers would expect the installation also to be part of it. And why only installation? If somebody is buying an AC, they'll look at how does it perform over the next 5 years, what the kind of AMC that as a package can come. So I think there's more and more, but it's all around customer being at the center of the thing and we innovating on their behalf. A lot has been done, but I believe we are just scratching the top of the surface. There's a lot of distance to go in terms of innovations and in terms of getting that sweet spot of convenience. I know we have been talking a lot about speed, and that's a very important aspect. But convenience has many other vectors which we need to bring to fore, listen to our customers, and keep delivering on that.
But I mean, in the last 2 years, because of COVID, how has the last mile delivery space changed over the last 2 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, COVID is something which has obviously made every player to innovate, right? In terms of contactless delivery, in terms of, particularly in India, where there is very high cash on delivery. How do we actually enable that cash on delivery to go at that stage? How do we make unattended delivery? How do we make a delivery at the security? How do we make a delivery which is still convenient for a customer to pick up, but it is safe for the delivery associate to deliver as well as the customer to come and pick up. But largely the innovations have been around making contactless delivery and making it safe for the customers and get at their doorstep.
Sure. Atul, coming to you, I mean, what kind of new trends or innovations you have seen in the last 2 years emerging in this space?
Yeah, so before I get to that, just a bit on the importance of last mile.
Sure.
I say this, like, when you look at any commerce transaction, the customer is on the website for 30 minutes, decides what to buy, presses the buy button, but then he's with the brand for the next 3 days till the product is delivered.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of what we call as last mile, the post-checkout experience. You have the customer, you have to keep him engaged for 3 years. What he wants is a very predictable and a consistent performance. He's fine if you tell him 4 days, but then deliver on the fourth day. And I think a lot of innovation and led by Karna sitting besides me on Amazon has happened, and people really like the experience they get when they're shopping on marketplaces, a very consistent, stitched end-to-end experience. How do we extend it to the ecosystem outside for direct commerce? How on direct commerce, my post-checkout experience is as seamless as I get on marketplaces. I think that's the frontier, and that's where a lot of work is happening. If you see 1 day, 2 day deliveries for commerce outside marketplaces were not existent 2 years back. Now we have so many fulfillment offerings for brands where they can use replication for their direct-to-commerce sort of business to enable 1 day, 2 day delivery. We are talking about same-day deliveries now.
Yeah.
We are doing it for a few merchants from our warehouses. 11 a.m. cutoff was not heard of in the last 2 years. Seamless returns experience. I am a fashion brand. If I'm not offering returns, my conversion is going to dip, right? So how do I enable a Amazonish like a returns experience for my buyers where they can select, tell me what went wrong, enable me to be able to capture the reasons, equivalent, etc. I think those are some of the things which is what has evolved and will continue to evolve. And I think the way I see it is the marketplace will keep raising the bar, and everyone outside has to ensure that we just keep sort of keeping up with them and at times just eclipsing it and building experiences which are even better. Yeah, I think at the end of it, customer is going to be the one who benefits, because at the end of the day, everyone is working for that end customer, whether it is the marketplaces, us, and everyone else around here. Yeah.
Sure. Puneet, coming to you, I think cart to door is the newest player out of all three. So how you got into this space, and I mean, how are you ensuring that it plays a critical role for all the e-commerce companies?
Yeah, first of all, good afternoon to everybody. And like what Atul said, the need of the hour is technology getting into the space. So last mile is why last mile is important is because customer spends about half an hour, 1 hour. Then the last mile experience is the end point for that particular customer. So the customer experience, not only for the e-commerce companies, but for everybody, the customer experience relies on the last mile. So that's why last mile is very, very important. And what we thought of coming into India is we are a technology company doing logistics. So we are already present in 5 countries, and this is what we thought, that in India we can bring in, we can replicate the model in India. And last mile, it's not just the last mile. We have to see supply chain as a whole gamut. So the first mile, middle mile, last mile, everything is important. What Atul just said is that now same day is available. We are in the sphere of just doing same day, next day, or 48 hours. We don't do anything else. So that's what the experience now in India is experiencing. The customers, they are looking forward for that kind of experience, and this is what we bring in to the table.
Okay, interesting. So with regards to various e-commerce companies, I mean, we have lots of them sitting in the audience here. So any insights or trends you could share, I mean, with regards to the way they approach you, or any specific customizations you would have done for any of your customers?
Customizations as in what, the delivery, on the delivery aspect?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what he was saying, 11 o'clock cutoff, yes, it is. So we have one of our customer who's got a our customer to his customer, the cutoff is 12 o'clock. And that's less than 18 hours delivery. And this is what we are bringing. It's a very big brand that we are bringing to their customers. And over the period of time, the online as well as offline sales has increased because we are into B2B and B2C segment, both the segments we are. So it is just in time concept. So all the customers or the e-commerce player, they can have their merchandise on the online platform as well as on the offline platform right there. It's a JIT concept. So we would like what Amazon started many years back in the US, JIT concepts, and FedEx was the one who was supporting that initiative. This is what India is looking forward now. I think, yeah, Atul would add.
I think not customization, but an evolution is in the domain of, and I can see that happening, is showing a promise as a brand to your end consumer, right? When you are on the website of any direct to consumer brand, right? There are some where there's still delivery in 5 to 7 days, while in some places you see order now and I'll deliver it on 13th May or 14th May. Yeah? That predictability of when this item is going to get delivered is what brands are gravitating towards, and which is coming from better control, tech enabled, on how my entire supply chain is going to pan out. If I place an order today, what time am I going to take to pack it? When will it be ready for pickup? When will it get picked up? What are the SLAs? Where do I need to connect? Will I connect by air or surface? The last mile, when can I deliver? What does my last mile hub performance looks like? Those things were in isolation, silo, and not integrated. I think what has happened is you have seen that information flow happening very seamlessly for the brands to be able to consume, to talk to their buyers in a much more seamless manner, to say, okay, you are looking at this product, I know it is sitting in a warehouse in Delhi, you are from Bangalore, it will take me 3 days, 4 days, fourth day, I'm going to deliver it. And for that buyer to have that sort of predictability that, okay, fine, I'm going to get it in 4 days, is something which is coming through, which is what a lot of brands are also not demanding and asking for, saying, I want to show a very accurate promise to my merchants. Again, I think something which marketplaces had innovated long time back and sort of picking up outside. Yeah.
I mean, maybe the only thing I'll add is it still boils down to the basics of selection, speed, and pricing. And how do you get more, like Atul said, I mean, more predictable, and getting that promises faster and faster to the customer, more reliably. I think still is the play, and there's a lot of goodness around this, which every organization in some shape or form is trying to capture that.
Sure. And what role technology plays in defining those analytics and further improvising the last mile delivery phenomena?
Yeah. So I think a couple of them which are super critical as far as last mile is concerned. One is about routing. So it's not only point to point. It's how do you do the routing, and how do you make sure the driver stops, how much time it takes to service, is machine learned so that the route is well defined, and while a driver is productive, they do it safely, they do it predictably, and everywhere we can kind of track and make sure that the customer is aware when the shipment is going to come. So I think one is a big thing around the routing bit. The second is, and which is most critical for last mile, is the address quality. And how much of work is done at that stage determines how well a delivery can be done. So address quality is again something which is, there are a lot of interventions from machine learning where when a customer is inputting an address, that there are prompts that if the pin code is wrong, there are prompts if the right street is selected, if the prompts are there, that the right landmarks are selected, so that the address quality is good. Once you have a good address quality, you have a nice or a routing which is learning. So it's not one time. It's something which is learning. So if a driver is delivering 3 times at this place, even if the customer has given an address which is 200 meters away. And it's all about predicting the right timing and right service times with these last 100 meters. And that is what determines, because if the driver is a little lost in the last 100 meter, it makes a difference pretty much in the number of packages which he or she as a driver will be able to deliver. So I would say around routing and address quality is the one where, and as more new to platform customer come in, the address quality bit becomes very important to make sure that the delivery happens predictably. Yep.
So at your end, at the back end, how, just a second, at your end, at the back end, how are you ensuring, okay, the from address standpoint, I mean, the driver or the delivery person doesn't get lost? I mean, is it only through the regular maps or there's more to it?
Yeah. So maps is one part of it, but the other thing is there are a lot of hand curated on the maps which are done, because I mean, while in developed countries the maps are very, I would say, more accurate. In something like India, where we are still going to tier 2, tier 3 towns, there's a lot of hand curated, machine learned data that comes in basis the actual correct delivery that is taking place, which the machine learning puts it into the address quality score. And address quality score is something which helps to make us more predictable in terms of how much will be the service time. So there are address quality scores which are all computed, I wouldn't say from maps. Maps is just one part of it. And then that helps also in making what, so when the driver is going with number of packages, what's the kind of stop sequence that they will take is something which comes up in their app as they're moving around. So I think.
So, thank you. Thank you for prompting this, and I was itching to add because this is what we have launched, sir. So we have launched this service. The last mile visibility is just like Swiggy and Zomato. So once your package is out, so if your last mile duration is about 10 kilometers, the end user or the end customer can actually track his package. So the package is moving, and if he's got 4 stops in between, it's a milk run. So if it's 4 stops in between, they can also track it that my package will be 4th. Or if it's the first, then he knows. So this is what we have introduced already in India, and this is the platform where we are launching this service. And the city that we are launching is from Bangalore itself.
That's right. I think beyond address and visibility, I think where technology does play a role, but can play a more important role, is what happens when there's a defect. Like, we all plan for 100% success, but operations at the end of the day, it's an atoms business, not a bits business where you can ensure 100% sort of accuracy. So there will be defects, right? So there will be times when you call, the buyer was not available, equivalent, etc. How do you ensure that you are handling it at scale? Because you're talking about millions of shipments being attempted. Even a 2% defect in that is lakhs of defects. Yeah. Like, ensuring a seamless communication with the buyer, flowing it back. How do you ensure it is seamless? The FE is not sort of they're burdened with what do I do now? I think that piece of communication orchestration, we call it the NDR workflows in our language. How do we do it better and at scale, I think, is the other piece of handling those 5% effect, because that at times, how you handle that makes a huge difference. People don't talk about the 95% happy use cases. Everyone remembers the 5% defect use cases. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
That's where our technology would help. So if you have a customer who's expecting a delivery and he's out of house, or it's a B2B, the shop is closed due to whatever reason, he can actually call the company and say that I'm not available. So we would reduce the returns also, the number of returns are reduced, and the accuracy on delivery, the SLAs are also maintained. So as soon as the customer is saying that I'm not available, you come in the evening, the system gets updated with the new SLA. So this is what the technology, so like I said, technology doing, company doing the logistics, this is what we are bringing the technology into the marketplace.
Sure. And Dr. Karuna, we've all been waiting for the drone delivery to become real. So when do you think it's going to become possible in India?
Yeah. So I think the technology is available in some shape or form. But the key thing is in terms of what customer problem we are solving, what is that it is doing. So I think it's beyond just symbolically doing something. What's the scale that can be done? What is, these technology do give a certain amount of higher predictability, but it all boils down to what customer problem we are solving, what innovation we are bringing on behalf of them. So I think it's very difficult for me to say when it comes, but as and when the customer need is strong enough, the technology is there and we believe it can be scaled is when it should actually hit. Yeah.
Sure. So Atul, do you see any new innovations coming in the delivery space?
So I think it's about reduction in time. We talked about 1 day, 2 day becoming pass and now. Same day is what everyone is seeking. We had a session on quick commerce. I won't say 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but I think as a buyer, I might expect and I would expect the ecosystem to solve for say 4 hours delivery or 5 hours delivery, right? Like if I'm placing an order now, can you deliver at 6 or 7 in the evening? If you have the right micro fulfillment center, spread, replicated inventory, equivalent, etc. So I think a sharper same day delivery is what I foresee it getting to the next level, which is very much doable if you build the right supply chain orchestration. And yeah, like 30 minutes would have been great, but I think I can wait for 6 hours as a buyer. Is what I think it will evolve to.
Okay. Sure. But what are the challenges like in terms of reducing the time in terms of last mile delivery?
I think a fundamental one is about replication, right? What are you doing when you're reducing the time? You're bringing the inventory closer to the buyer, right? That's the fundamental lever, right? Uh, if you want to do it in a sustainable manner, unless you are doing 1:1, and in that being able to predict the demand accurately. So again, technology in supply chain being able to predict the demand so that you don't increase your inventory cost by replicating in 40 centers. You have 3 city centers instead of 1 warehouse, which was in, say, Neelmangla, but now you have 3 centers within Bangalore, which can deliver in 6 hours.
Yeah.
As long as you're not increasing your inventory cost by poor replication, I think it's very much doable. Technology in demand planning and forecasting, which some of the bigger organizations, Unilever, Amazon, do really well. How do you bring it to new businesses where the demand might not be as stable because of high growth which we are seeing? I think that is going to be the challenge. Accurate demand planning at a cluster level within city, if you can crack that, I don't think 6 hours is that big a challenge from a supply chain last mile perspective. But we'll defer to thoughts from the other two as well on this.
Sure.
No, I think that's bang on. I mean, getting the predictability on demand, and it's more than. I mean, you never know what the customer is going to buy. No? Otherwise, and it's not just the shirt somebody is buying. So you can just not stock white shirts. I mean, they may like a particular color shirt. So how one is able to predict what is the demand at each center is also determines the speed, because I think that's the, so you're bang on there, yeah.
Sure.
So this is what we are working on currently. With the 3 of our customers, we are bringing in AI into the forefront to, yeah, if by chance, like Atul said, if we can crack this. So what we are doing is with that beta version with 3 customers, we have taken a cluster, what you just said. So a cluster-based demand prediction for only for these 3 customers. This is what we are trying, sir. But let's see if we can do something.
So Dr. Karuna, I mean, any innovations at the level of Amazon, I mean, which you're bringing in the last mile delivery space?
Yeah. So I mean, we don't talk about things which are forward looking or which are in the pipeline. But I would say at the center of anything that we do is customer. We don't do anything which is just for the sake of doing it or just for something. It has to address one of the problem. It has to be either safety or convenience or predictability or a customer need. So in those space, there will always be more and more innovations that will come, but difficult for me to right now pinpoint and say these are the ones and these are the timelines here, right?
Okay. You don't want to open your cards yet. Sure. And before we throw open the floor for questions, Atul, any insights you could share with regards to the segments in terms of the kind of sectors and industries which are showing maximum demand?
So I think it's across. We see a lot of entrepreneurship, a lot of new brands coming up in segments like fashion, personal care, beauty. I think those are some of the ones which clearly stand out in terms of where the demand is coming from. And in terms of the regions as well, while it was dominated by tier 1, tier 2 earlier, there's a lot of tier 3 buyer behavior, consumer traction, which we are seeing of late. I think post-COVID, that has also accelerated. So yeah, that's broadly on the trends.
Sure.
Yeah, it's basically the fashion because after COVID and back to office, so it's more on the fashion side. Yeah, garments, fashion, ornamental jewelries. So these are the things which are now high in demand, and this is what our customers are shipping currently.
Any specific segment which is the most difficult to deliver?
I think two, I'll say, where we face challenge as an organization. I'm being very upfront. One is when it comes to large appliances, right? Like a 100 kg television. While we have partners, that's always a challenge. You can't have a first attempt not right there. Getting the stuff and then taking it back and then attempting it again is a challenge. And the second one, I think, is precious jewelry. Like if you're actually sending gold and silver, you just need to have very high sort of checks and controls. I think those are the two outliers. Other than that, I think bulk of it we are able to serve really well.
Okay, sure. So with this, we throw open the floor for questions. Please raise your hand and identify yourself. Yeah, the lady and the gentleman.
Hi, my name is Jyotsna. I work with Ozontel Communications. Thank you very much for a very beautiful conversation, panel discussion. My question is related to the customer experience, engagement rather. You did talk about keeping the customer engaged. I think Atul spoke about it, and you also spoke about AI. Do you see a revolution coming? Do you see some changes happening in that direction?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the second part.
Yeah, I think the question was around what's happening on customer engagement and how AI is being leveraged.
That's right.
Right. I think I can talk about it from the reference of a product, in fact, which we have, which is called ShipRocket Engage. What we fundamentally do is enable the brand to keep the conversation live with the buyer while the product is out for delivery. So when it is shipped, when it is out for delivery, when it has been delivered, in that we see an opportunity and we are working towards how can we have conversational AI powering something. So if the buyer just says, where is my order, right? I should be able to understand that and revert back to him saying, your expected delivery date is this. Taking care of the anxiety. Can you suggest some alternate products also? I love the product which I just bought. Can you suggest something similar? The WhatsApp bot should be able to, from my catalog, pull in from Shopify, show 4 similar products. So I think that level of engagement, some basic use cases, you should see that coming very soon from us as well as from others in the field, because that's what the buyer demand and that's what the market and the ecosystem is demanding, I guess.
Sure. The gentleman
Hi,
here had a question.
I'm Pradnya. I'm from Samsonite. More than a question, I have a point of view basically. The quick commerce, I think it should be really restricted to few of the categories or few of the product. Because at the end of the day, when you are like on the roads and you have all the unguided missiles, and I'm calling them missiles, all those who are delivering the products on the bike, you know. And the area where I stay in Mumbai, it's like highly crowded area, and there are few accidents have also happened because of these riders. So there has to be one social responsibility among consumers and among companies also like yours. There should be some education done to the riders and to the consumers that have a patience and call the products only if it's really necessary. And there has to be a health and insurance given to the riders also. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think firstly, it's a very important point that you bring in. So thanks for that. And thanks for the understanding. As you started this, more like you said, it's a comment, not a question. But we at Amazon, I mean, this is something which is paramount for us. Sustainability of environment is very important. And we don't like to do something which is overloading the environment. You talked about road safety, but I'm coming first from the sustainability from a environment perspective. And, we are signatories to the Paris Agreement and in fact have a pledge to get 10 years before in terms of all that is there in the Paris Agreement. So this is important. Secondly, in terms of driver safety, I mean, I won't go to the extent saying that it should be restricted to certain categories because that depends on what the customer demand or customer profile is. But in terms of while delivering that, while making that promise, what's the kind of safety standard that we are setting in is at the heart of everything that we do at Amazon. It's not, it's about driver insurance and other benefits that's obviously given, it's there. But also in terms of making sure that in their hours of work, there is built in an hour for lunch, there's built in a time for rest, there's built in a time for them to be able to predictably deliver at each place. So I think safety is paramount. Accidents on the road is a separate subject, but in terms of how we have enabled that a driver is able to safely deliver, predictably deliver, is at the heart of everything we do. Every tech which we use, this is the starting point for us to make sure that the driver is safely able to deliver. But thanks for the question.
Hello, sir. This is Jitendra from Refresh. We are FMCG brand. Now, the topic was the last mile delivery, right? So we had seen in the last 10, 15 years that internet has evolved, and I think majorly more than 50% rural areas are also covered in this internet age, right? So now if we say that last mile delivery, then it should be covered up to rural area also. So when we are searching on the internet that what are the delivery options available in the rural area, there are still not much options. The traditional method of giving the products in rural area is limited to the big brands like you see Colgate and all those things. Like so, upcoming new startup brands who want to cater to rural area also. So in that sense, what this logistic that you are having, your thoughts are onto it?
Yeah. So I think you would have seen before we came on, Shiprocket was talking about 29,000 pin codes. So I think pretty much from a last mile reach perspective, I think it is available from, Atul can talk more about it, but I don't think there is any area where if you have a customer demand and if you have a product, it can't reach. It's about speed, so it all depends on where you have the products for it to travel to the customer. But from a reach perspective, I think this is a big enabler for new businesses, if that is what your question was. Atul, you would like to add something?
Yes, absolutely. It is for the new enablers. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think maybe we can chat just after this. Yeah, there are platforms like Shiprocket, which will give you access to be able to reach out to buyers and deliver to them across the country. So that barrier is not there, and that's something fundamentally which we had built over the last 3-4 years. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. With this, we have come to the end of this session. If there are any more questions, of course, you can take it up offline with our speakers. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. I request our moderator to hand over the token of love from us. Well, thank you so much for coming here and sharing great insight. It was surely and truly enlightening session. Well, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for them? Come on.